SICHL fans, welcome to the 2024 Continental Cup preview show. In the other league, they set a record for going the longest into the summer that it's ever happened. They've awarded their cup. We at the SICHL said, hold my beer. It is well into sailing season, and here we are, still haven't simmed a single game. But I'm excited to say that we have somewhat agreed on a schedule of when we're all available for everyone's favorite part of the final series, watching the two GMs stress out over lines of text scrolling on the screen. Speaking of those two GMs, I would like to welcome your world champion GM, Jeff Prezeller of the Havana Revolution, and four-time Continental Cup winning champion and this year's Canadian Conference champion, Guy Flaming of the Acadia Grizzly Bears. Jeff and Guy, welcome to the show.
Great to be back.
Yeah, I bet. I see you've got some old logos in the background. I don't know if anyone's going to give us a copyright strike for that. Probably not, but you never know. Those Alberta University of Alberta lawyers might catch it. So we're going to just have a quick little preview. So I want to start out with you guys, maybe just giving everybody a story of how we got here, and maybe highlighting some of your most difficult series. Guy, I can just imagine how many stories you have with incredible conference that you went through.
Yeah,
but Jeff,
two tough series.
Yeah, well. We'll start with the guy with home ice advantage. Jeff, in the easy conference, there probably not a lot that was really challenging to you, but if you want to shout out to any of the GMs you trampled over on your way to this day here, I open the floor to you.
All right. Well, happy to be back. Didn't know for sure that I'd make my way back here, but glad that I was able to do that, and honored to be facing the Acadia Grizzly Bears in the Continental Cup playoffs. Bringing me here, we kind of had a challenging first round against the Buckaroos. Maybe it didn't show up in the series results, but it certainly felt that way given their roster. So that one was a little bit of a challenge to work through. And then we quickly wiped the floor with the London Monarchs. I mean, they're just a toss-off team at this stage, just grasping at glory. But the World Champion or World Conference Championship against Brno was an interesting one of kind of offense versus defense, and the good goaltending at Brno and the couple lines they had firing certainly gave us a challenge. So happy to make our way through, but especially with no injuries, but happy to be here.
Excellent. Well, welcome back, champ. I'm glad to see the cup is still in one piece and nobody has stripped it for parts to repair a vehicle down there in Havana. But so, Guy, let's get to your how we got here story.
Well, it had to square off against the Norsemen in the first round, and lots of overtimes. I think we went to overtime 3 times, if I remember correctly. Lost my starting netminder in Game 2, in the first period of Game 2. But thankfully, that was Tristan Jarry. Logan Thompson, though, came in and rose to the occasion. He was very, very strong for me. And Mikko Rantanen has been a juggernaut, set a franchise record for points in the playoffs, and the finals haven't started yet. The Bears have been here 4 times, so the fact that he's already set the franchise record in 3 rounds is pretty remarkable for him. So he's been playing lights out. Claude Giroux has been very good as well, although he got hurt early in a series against the Banff Rockies in round 2. And that was another really close series with a couple of overtime games and some 1-goal games. And then squaring off against Fredericton, no overtimes in that one. That one was, I mean, it did go 7 games, but outside of one, there was one lopsided loss for me in that series, and that one struck a little fear into me. But was able to rebound after that. Thankfully, Giroux was back in time. Shout out also to Matt Sogard, who had to come in at the final game against the Norsemen, who hadn't played basically for me all season, but Logan Thompson was exhausted after so many overtime games. and Mads came in and had the game of his life. So he saved the day in that series, and with Giroux back against the Express, and I think the Express had some injury troubles as well. We're in the finals, and I would be lying if I said that I expected to be here, but I'm happy to be here, and now that I am, I want to win.
Yes, well, I don't know if either of you had the opportunity to listen to the podcast.
I did,
but every time Eric spoke, all I heard was static, so I don't really know what was said there. But I thought I might give you guys the opportunity to respond to any of the things that might have been said. I know Ian definitely mentioned something about the goaltending mismatch, and that certainly could be an issue. But Ian also pointed out that that Acadia got by the mighty Vasilevsky in the previous round. So maybe we'll start with the home team again. Jeff, you want to address anything that was said on the podcast? Fire away, clap back.
I don't know if I need to clap back. It didn't rain on my team too hard, unlike the previous year where we got beat up pretty badly in the pre-Continental Cup podcast. But I will say, goaltending is something that, we obviously have our starter in Hellebuck and a lot of faith in him. But, beyond that, there's certainly some depth that Guy has that might afford him some different ways of approaching the series. He's got a couple good goaltenders there, but I will say we faced some of the best goaltending in that last series against Brno in the league. So if we were able to overcome that, there's some hope that we can do the same thing against the Grizzly Bears. Otherwise, there were some complaints that maybe Havana doesn't have enough checking, or maybe isn't up to it on defense in some of the areas. But I'm pretty sure that we've got a series of defensemen, and we'll be throwing some body weight around all throughout the lineup to make sure we throw the Bears off their game.
All right, and Guy, I'm a big fan of Tristan Jarry, but your number 2 goalie has been lights out for you. So, are you worried about goaltending?
Well, I would say normally, listen, for the 3 previous rounds, the other team's goaltender has been higher rated and higher ranked, and I've been the underdog in all of those series. Yes, the goaltending matchup doesn't look favorable to me, which I'll be honest, it does make me a little sad. But when I look at it, the Bears have beaten the number 1 team, the number 3 team, and the number 5 team in the regular season standings. Only regular season, but I do have reason to feel confident that I can do it again in the final against the number 2 team, and that's the number 1 in the World Conference. So it's not really apples; it's apples and oranges. But yes, I look at who he has up front, and they have McDavid and Draisaitl, and then there are some others as well. But those 2 are certainly the nuclear options available in Cuba. But we'll have an embargo, and we'll try to, stave off that attack from Cuba. I will say that I like my defense, and I know that Havana has a couple of former Bears defensemen, and Rasmus Ristolainen and Braden McNabb, but they were spare parts for me, so I was able to cast them aside. Eventually, they found a home in Havana, but comparatively, I do like my defensive core. I will say that the goaltending advantage for Havana is probably significant, but I do like my guys. I'm confident. However, listening to the podcast, I know. Listen, the other guys picked Havana to win, and it does make me sad. Pardon me.
No, you take your time. Take your time, Guy. Let it all out.
I just want to represent my city and my conference well, and try the best we can. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well said. Well said, Guy. Now, we haven't really talked about the forward, so we'll just we might as well. We mentioned Rantanen has been on fire, is probably a leading Yari Curry Trophy candidate at this moment, going up against the 1-2 tandem of McJesus and Draisaitl.
Yeah.
Now, I think on the podcast, those extremely smart guys both said it's very likely that the top forwards aren't going to do anything in this series. I just wonder how both of you respond to that. Maybe we'll mix it up. We'll go back to Guy.
Well, I did look at the offensive output by teams this year, and I believe there were 3 teams that had over 300 goals scored. I beat 2 of them in the playoffs, and that'd be Fredericton and Banff. I think the only other team that scored over 300 goals this year was Montreal, and they didn't make it that far. So I think I'm going up against a very offensive team, but I've proven that I can handle that sort of offense, or my guys can. You know, I'm just the GM. I'm not actually on the ice playing. So I only do what I can from my vantage point, but I have confidence that they can get it done once again.
All right, Jeff?
And we try and balance them out between the lines, and we'll do different things to, look at where we can expose some of the depth in the Bears. So I have some confidence that our guys will pull through when the going gets tough, and the championship's on the line. These guys were there last year. They know what to do. They know what it takes, and it hasn't been almost a decade since we won anything. So these guys really are like seasoned pros, and I have full confidence they'll show up again this year.
Wow, that's great. I have full confidence that both of you are going to be an entertaining watch for the rest of the league. I hope you guys keep this up. This has been a great little preview. Mike, I think it's time to flash up the schedule that we have for the rest of the week. Of course, I can't see it, but I vaguely remember that we are starting on Thursday evening, and then a Saturday matinee, a late Sunday game, a Monday evening for game 4, and then 5, 6, and 7 as necessary later in the week. Of course, the Havana Revolution, your defending champs, have home ice advantage. They'll have last change. I'm sure both of you will be spending hours poring over your starting lineups. I can't wait to see how you guys square off two titans of the SICHL. Obviously, Guy, your legendary 16-0 run and multiple cups. Jeff, the new sexy pretty thing on the block with the stacked roster that everyone is drilling over lately. It is going to be fun. So with that, I think I will wrap it up unless producer Mike has anything to remind me of in my ears. Mike is being uncharacteristically quiet. So I guess I am good to sign off. Thanks, guys, and we will see you on Thursday.